you guys, thanks so much for clicking on my channel. We're all smiles over here. I am Will Sanja. It's like asking a question. Will Sanja help you keep your smile for today? And hopefully the answer is yes, you guys. I'm trying not to keep it long, but you already know. If it gets good, I'm gonna keep on talking. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. To go to next today is drop that side piece. And if you are the side piece, please stop being the side piece. Y'all, I did not want to talk about this today. Why? Because I was like, God, I don't want to get in nobody's business. I don't want to know nobody's business. But God said, I need my married folk to hear this. Y'all do know that God loves marriages. He really does. He smiles on marriages. It's not that he don't love the single, or that he doesn't smile on a single, because we all started out as single. It's that God knows that when he puts unions together, that you have an in-house restoration immediately. Which means what? If your wife is feeling down, the husband will do what? Begin to pray and edify the spirit in that wife. And then what? She is restored immediately. Vice versa with the husband. If the husband is having a bad day and he's down and out, and that wife sees that, then what happens? She's able to what? Restore him immediately, edify his spirit so that he will be restored immediately. The thing is, when you're single, is that when you're having a down day, and even though you're in prayer, you still need that extra boost. You need, sometimes you'll call your friend or a family member and they'll pray and get you edified and stuff. But sometimes when you're single, you don't want to tell certain things to certain family members or certain things to certain friends. So you can't be as vulnerable. However, when you are married, you're able to be vulnerable with your spouse, which means what? They have seen you at your lowest. They know what you look like without your makeup. They know what your breath smell like when you ain't brushed. They know your stank breath. They know your flaws and whatnot. So you're able to be vulnerable. They're able to see what's really going on. You ain't got to hide nothing from them. Therefore what? They're able to jump in when you're down and out and bring restoration. Why? Because it's in-house immediately. It's right there. And that's why God loves marriages so much, because you're able to be a force even the more as a union. You get what I'm saying? And so you know, if God really loves marriages, you know who really hates them. I'm here to tell you today that God wants you to drop the side piece, because he's saying you're hindering up your blessing. You're hindering up your blessing. You're holding it up. And not to mention, it is an abomination to God. You said, what? No, it's not. Yes, it is. God said this. God said that deceit is in the heart of those that imagine what? Wickedness. Imagine what? Iniquity. And then in Proverbs 16, I'm going to read it to you. It says this. These 6 things, Proverbs 6 and 16, it says this. These 6 things does the Lord hate, and yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. It says this: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that deviseth wicked imagination. Now, I just told you, God said deceit is in the heart of those that imagine what? Wickedness. It says here, a heart that deviseth wicked imagination. Then it says feet that be swift in running towards what? Mischief. Then it says what? A false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among the brethren. Now God is saying having a side piece is an abomination. Why? Because having a side piece involves what? Deceit. It does. Think of the children of Israel. How did God refer to them? He was calling them whores, adulterers, fornicators, and he said they were what? An abomination, all because they were going outside of who he was. They were going to other idols saying, be this for me, be that for me. And God is saying, I am that I am. I am the same God that delivered you out of Egypt. I am your provision. I am your provider. I am your protector. I am your healer. But they kept going on the side to these idols. And guess what? They were never being satisfied by these idols. Which I'm telling you, you will never be satisfied with this side piece. This side chick, this side dude, you will not be satisfied. You won't. Why? Because a side piece was never designed to satisfy you at all. Think about it. God created Adam and he created Eve. Now, don't you know, if God thought that Eve was not going to be enough for Adam, he would have created Adam, Eve, and Yvette. And if God thought that Adam was not going to be enough for Eve, he would have created Adam, Jack, and Eve. Okay? God knows what he's doing. Who God has joined you to, she is more than enough for you right now. Who God has joined you to, he is more than enough for you right now. This side piece, this side chick, this side dude is going to bring havoc to your life, sorrow to your life. Things are going to be depleted. You're not going to ever get what God has for you with that side piece, or you being the side piece. You are. Think about it. If you go to the restaurant, or even if you're at home cooking, and you say, I'm going to fix me a steak, okay? I'm going to give y'all an example of what a side piece does, what it's supposed to do, what a side does. So you have that steak, you season it well, and you know you're about to eat the steak, and you say, you know what, I want some sides to complement my steak, okay? I want some sides to complement my steak. So with the steak, you normally pair it with what? You pair it with some garlic mashed potatoes, or some what? Some scallop potatoes, and some what? Some broccoli or asparagus. Why? Because you know when you have your steak and you're eating mashed potatoes or scallop potatoes or asparagus or broccoli, when you go back to the steak, it brings out the flavor even the more in that steak, which means what? That side is complementing the main course. In your case, this side piece, who is it complementing? This side chick, who is she complimenting? This side dude, who is he complimenting? Is that side chick complimenting your wife? Huh? Is she calling your wife up saying, oh, you're such a great wife. Oh, you're such a great mother. Oh, you keep house really well. You are so nice. Is that side chick doing that? Okay. She's not. I know she's not. Is that side dude calling your husband up saying, man, you are amazing, man. You are a good provider, man. You the bomb.com. You a good husband. Is that side dude calling your husband, telling him that? Of course not. You know what this side piece is doing? The side piece is complimenting you. That's how you know it's wrong. That's how you know it's wrong. The side piece is complimenting you. And the side piece is complimenting you. Why? Because that's the enemy coming in to try to get you to pull apart from your wife, to pull apart from your husband. Because that enemy wants you to think that your wife isn't giving you what you need. He wants you to think that your husband isn't giving you what you need. And truth be told, he is. She is. But the enemy wants to destroy what you have, because God knows that he has blessings for you and your husband, blessings for you and your wife. And he got you over there saying, I ain't doing that wrong because I ain't sleeping with them. Well, I already told you that deceit is in the heart of those that imagine what? Wickedness, evil. And it says that abomination says what? A heart that deviseth wicked imagination is an abomination to God. God hates that. Which means what? If this side person on the side chick, side dude, deceit is in the mix. If deceit is in the mix of your relationship with them, then it's a side piece and it ain't right. I'll give you a perfect example. Even though you ain't sleeping with them, maybe they'll say, hey, listen, I ain't told nobody this. And I'm going to tell you this, and I don't want you to tell nobody else, not even your wife. Not even your husband. You know what? You better run, Forrest, run. You better run away from them, because they're asking you to bring deceit in your marriage. They're telling you to hide something from your wife. When they ask you not to tell your wife or your husband a certain thing, if they ask, what do you do if your wife or your husband asks you something pertaining to what they ask you to not divulge with them? What do you have to do? You have to lie. Another abomination. God says here, a proud look, a lying tongue. They're asking you to lie. Do you not understand that you need to run, Forrest, run? Run away from that? Because in this mix is deceit. Think about it. What if you are confiding within them? You're telling them everything. Your deep, darkest secrets. Things that happened to you when you were younger. And your wife don't even know that about you. Your husband don't even know that about you. You know what that is? Listen, it is sowing discord among the brethren, among your wife, among your husband. That's discord. That means what? You're breaking apart. Which means what? You got somebody on the side that know more about you than your wife or than your husband. What if all y'all together and y'all get to talking and that person say, yeah, remember like when you broke your leg when you was 3 years old? And your wife go, huh? I didn't know you broke your leg. Or your husband go, huh? I didn't know that happened to you. You know how that makes your wife look or your husband look in front of them? Like a fool. And it shows that you respect them more than you respect your wife or your husband. Now do you see how this is deceit? Therefore an abomination? Therefore they really are a side piece? Anytime, let me say this. Anytime you cannot talk to that person on the side in front of your wife or in front of your husband, side piece. You're hiding something. Even if you're saying, well, my wife or my husband don't like them, so that's why I don't like talking. No. If you ain't got nothing to hide, if you are secure in who you are, if you know that you are who you say you are and you ain't doing what people think you're doing, then you will feel comfortable. You'll tell that person, hey, listen, don't just call me when I'm at work. Hey, listen, no, you call me. I'm here with my wife. You can call me. No, my wife knows everything about me. I ain't got nothing to hide from my wife. I ain't got nothing to hide from my husband. Anybody that puts you in a position to where you have to hide from your wife or hide from your husband, I'm telling you, it is a side piece. It is a person who is out to kill, steal, and destroy. It's a person being used by the enemy. They're out to kill, steal, and destroy what God has blessed you with. The enemy is going to always show you what looks to be bad. And God is saying, no, this is a blessing, dude. No, this is a blessing, young lady. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. As soon as you go with that side piece, as soon as you divorce your husband and get with that side piece, that's when you're going to see the brightness in that husband. That's when you're going to see the brightness in your wife. Just ask anybody who used to be married to somebody and they got divorced because they had a side piece on the side. Ask them how that husband or how that wife turned out when they left them. 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, oh man, they end up getting this, that, and the other. They just soared. I thought they would never be anything, but when we got a divorce, he became a multimillionaire. He became a billionaire. He got a plane. He got this, he got that, and the other. And that was the enemy. Just jumped right on in there and stole from you what belonged to you. And I don't want that to happen. Obviously, God doesn't want that to happen. He wants you to get all the blessings that he has ordained for your marriage. Don't be deceived. I don't care how much that young man is listening to your woes. Your husband may not be the husband that will sit down and listen to you talk about everything. How your big toe aching and how your earlobe is aching and how your scalp is sore and how all this stuff. He may not be that attentive. Everybody aren't the same. And a lot of times we get in trouble when we start comparing our spouses with other people's spouses, or we start comparing our spouses with people we've dated before. And when you get into the state of comparison, you're going to steal from yourself. You're going to rob from yourself. Won't you just accept your husband, accept your wife for who they are? And if God has designed them to be what you really want, then trust me, it's going to happen. You just got to have some patience. And not to mention, God did not design your husband to be everything to you, because if he did design your husband to be everything to you, then you will replace God with your husband. Same thing. God did not design for your wife to be everything to you. Because if he did, then you would replace God with your what? With your wife. God said he got to leave some things void in your life so that you can come to him. So that you won't forget about him. That's what God wants. That's what God said. I think it's in Deuteronomy 6, if I'm not mistaken. God says, I will give you good and great cities that you didn't build. He said he will give you houses full of things that you didn't fill. He will give you wells that you didn't dig. He will give you vineyards and olive trees that you didn't plant, and you will be satisfied. And God said, the only thing I ask of you is that you do not forget who I am, that you remember to reverence me, that you remember to glorify me, that you remember to worship me. That's what God asked. That's what he asked. And that's what God is saying to you now. He said, I've given you your wife. I've given you your husband. I ask you now to make sure you know who I am. Because when you know who God is, when you respect God, when you worship God, when you acknowledge God, right? Then God will keep you protected from the enemy coming from the outside, on the sidelines to get in. You have a blessing walking side by side. That's your wife. Y'all are walking together. You don't need no sidekick. You are your wife's kit stand. You are your husband's kit stand. You don't need an additional stand outside of what y'all are. You don't. And if somebody is at your job giving you the, hi, Johnny. Oh, I love you, Johnny. Oh, I love your cologne. You smell so good. You give great advice. You better run, Forrest, run. And girl, if that guy over there giving you compliments, saying how he love your natural hair, because truth be told, some guys ain't into the natural, okay? They want sleek and straight hair. But listen, if you really going towards transitioning or getting a hair, getting your hair different or whatever, God will allow your husband to become attracted to that. He will. He will. The only time if your husband say he ain't attracted to you no more, or your wife saying she ain't attracted to you no more, that's because they have not asked God to open their eyes to let them see you the way he sees you. Okay? So don't you get caught up at Jack or Johnny at the job talking about how much they love your afro now, but your husband at home don't like it. Don't be wooed by that. Your husband will eventually love your afro. That shucks, he may grow one, okay? So don't be distracted by the enemy. Because I'm telling you, the enemy does not love marriages. He knows what marriages provide. Marriages provide, like I said before, it provides instant restoration, instant edification in your spirit. You actually have in-house help. You get it? Got it good? I hope so. Well, you got to drop that sidekick. And when you drop that sidekick, watch how your blessings just start to flood in. Watch how your blessings flood in. Watch how your blessings come. And listen, let me just say this, if that sidekick is saying, if you dump me and leave me, I'm going to tell your wife this, I'm going to tell your husband that, I'm going to do this and do that. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That's how the enemy do. The enemy will try to blackmail you. Do you know who is over the blackmail? God is. When you turn from your wicked ways, I told you, God said, if my people who are called by my name, all of us are called by his name. He said, if my people who are called, look at the sun coming out. Yes, God, I know it's the truth, God. God said, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, he says, then he will hear from heaven and heal your land. Listen, if you make the decision today to turn from your wicked ways and seek God's face and pray and get sincere with God and say, God, forgive me for having this side chick, even though I wasn't having sex with them. But somewhere or another, deceit was in the mix. Therefore, it was wrong, God. It was an abomination. I was lying. It was deceitful. I was hiding secrets from my wife, from my husband. I was not being honest. I was not being what you call me to be as a wife or as a husband. Forgive me. And I come to you. And God will see that. And then he'll heal your land. And guess what? In healing your land, God will take care of that side piece that's trying to blackmail you. Okay? He knows how to silence the lion. He does. Don't let nobody bully you to stay in sin. Because that's what that is. That's the enemy. Does that not sound like the enemy? To bully you to stay in sin. I'm going to hold this over your head. So keep seeing me. Keep staying in sin. Because if you leave me, then what's going to happen? I'm going to tell your wife. I'm going to tell your husband. I'm going to destroy your marriage. Now you know, if you stay in, it's going to be destroyed as well. You do know that, right? So why not take the option of you getting out of it, dropping that side piece, that side chick, side dude, and allow God to heal your land. And like I said, when God heal your land, you'll see the blessings. That house that y'all been trying to get for the longest you weren't able to get it, watch the house come around. That car, watch the car come around. That illness, that sickness, watch you be healed. Okay, you listen to me? Listen to me? You could never get that business up and running. Now it's working. It's running. It's up. It's running. It is. The enemy don't want you to be free. The enemy don't want you to know the blessings God has already prepared for you. He doesn't. So he'll rather keep you in a state of not knowing. God says what? His people perish for what? The lack of knowledge. And they are placed in captivity because they have no knowledge. I'm giving you the knowledge today. Drop the sidekick, that side piece. You don't need her. You don't need him. They are not complimenting your wife. They are not complimenting your husband. They are complimenting you to destroy what God has put in place. And that's the truth. And this is to the side piece. Listen, if you are a side piece, I'm telling you what you have done to yourself. You have put yourself beneath. Did you hear me? You have valued yourself beneath. God says you shall be above only. That means you are number one. God has never called you to be a number two or even a number three, because there's some of y'all out there who are side pieces. You're a side piece to another side piece. Ain't that something? And God said he ain't never called you to be second, third, fourth, fifth. He's always called you to be number one. He said you shall be above only and not beneath. You shall lend and not borrow. You don't need a sugar daddy. He said you shall lend and not borrow. This is in Deuteronomy 28. Read it. And when you digress yourself, devalue yourself to be a kickstand to a kickstand, then you're hindering your blessings. God got a lot for you. He knows what's best for you. And you being a sidekick to a sidekick ain't it. You will never be looked at as someone valued. Why? Because your behavior is one who has no discretion. I'm going to read this to you. This is what God says about a female, and this could be for a male as well, that don't have discretion. It says this. Let me make sure I have the right one. It says this. Hopefully y'all get it. It's in Proverbs, y'all. Proverbs 11:22. As a jewel, like a diamond of gold, as a jewel of gold in a swine's snout. You know what a swine is. It's a pig. Say for instance, you have a piece of gold or you have a diamond, and you put it in the snout of a pig. What you gonna think about it? So I don't care what it is. It's in that pig's nose. It says this: so is a fair woman, which means what? You can look your best. You can have the best jacket weave in. You can have the best spiders on your eyelashes. You can have the best jewelry on. You can have your face beat. Okay, you can have your face beat. Louis Vuitton's on, Versace on. You can have it all of it. It says, as a jewel of gold in a swine's snout, so is a fair woman which is without discretion. If you are a side piece today, whether you are a man or a woman, you have no discretion, which means there is no value to you. There's no value. So no matter how long you stay with him or her, you will always be looked at as the side piece, the side chick, the side dude. Even if they marry you, even if they leave their wife, even if they leave their husband and they marry you, you will still be looked upon as the side piece, the thirsty one. You will be just a glorified side piece. That's it. Don't you want to be seen more than that? God knows your value, and you got to know it too. A lot of times people get into situations because they didn't have the love that they needed from their father or their mother, so they end up in situations that are not pleasing to God. It comes without discretion. And 9 times out of 10, y'all, these side pieces, they don't have discretion. That's why they're able to try to blackmail you and say, well, I'm going to tell your wife this, I'm going to tell your husband that. You get me? Some of y'all probably had children on the side, and maybe the children didn't survive. Maybe it was a miscarriage. You don't think that side piece will say, I'm going to tell them that we had a baby together and it died. Oh, they'll throw all that up against you. They will. You don't think that? You don't think? You want to know how I know? Because that's how the enemy works. That's how the enemy works. When the enemy sees that you're leaving sin, the enemy says, no, you can't go. If you go, I'm going to tell this. If you go, I'm going to do this. If you go, I'm going to do that. Does that sound like God? Of course not. And then this is the thing, y'all. This is a long one. This is the thing. What the enemy will do, the enemy will always try to stop you from leaving sin by offering you things that you have been praying to God for. Okay? I don't want you to get caught up in that loophole. Because say, for instance, you want a car, you want a house, you want this, that, and the other. And the enemy is seeing that you're going to God more and you getting your life together. You don't want to be in this sin anymore, right? And so the enemy was like, well, let me go ahead and give them this car. Let me go ahead and give them this house. Let me go ahead and give them this, that, and the other. Give them this new position, this promotion. And that way they'll stay in the sin. This is the difference when the enemy gives you blessings per se, which ain't blessings, okay? Versus God blesses you. When the enemy gives you the things that you desire, trust me, you're going to still be up at night, not being able to sleep. You're going to still have migraines. You're going to still be in a space of being stressed out. You're going to still be in a space of being depressed. Everything's going to stay the same. The only thing that's going to change is that you're going to have what? The thing that you wanted. But everything else, the headache, all that stuff, the stress, the anxiety attacks, the depression, it's going to still be there. But with God, when you turn from your wicked ways and God heals your land, and then you begin to see the blessings and manifestations of God, He gets you that house, the car, the healing, and everything else you so desire. Guess what? God's blessing is going to make rich and add no sorrow. That's what God says. He said, the blessings I give to you make it rich, which means what? When He bless you with those things, He's going to keep blessing you over and over and over again, which means He's going to keep growing. He says, make it rich. May the blessings make it rich and add no sorrow, which means what? That new car parked in the garage and you sleeping like a baby. You got the new house and you sleeping like a baby. You got the new position and you sleeping like a baby. It ain't going to add sorrow. So don't be tricked by the enemy. God today is saying He wants you to drop that side piece. And if you are the side piece, stop being the side piece. Turn from your wicked ways, seek God's face, and watch He will heal your land. He smiles upon marriages. Single people, respect married folk. Okay? Respect what God has put together. In other words, married folk, respect what God has put together in your life. God got you. Trust Him. Go to God for everything. God already told us not to lean to our own understanding. He said, do not lean to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him. If your husband ain't being and doing what you want him to be and do for you, talk to God about it. God is the one that joined y'all together, so God knows that He could pull that out of him. And who knows what you asking for? God may be saying you don't need that. Have you ever asked God about that? God is probably saying you don't need all of that. God knows best, so go to God about it. Don't go to Sally on the side. Don't go to Jack on the side. Go to God, because God is the one that put y'all together. And He said, what He has put together, let nobody pull us under. He got you. I hope y'all got this, but if you didn't, it was a long one. I hope I covered everything. If I didn't, I'll be back on here again, but I hope I did. But listen, drop that side piece. Drop the side piece. She ain't worth it. He ain't worth it. It's a trick of the enemy. He wants to destroy what God has for you. I hope y'all got this thing, but if you didn't, rewind and watch again. But in the meantime, in between time, if you take just a little bit of what I'm telling you and apply to your life to the best of your ability, you won't ever have to mask a smile. Why? Because your smiles will always be genuine. I'll talk to y'all soon. Be blessed, stay blessed, be blessed, stay blessed, be blessed, stay blessed. Y'all know what's coming next.